we go. Betting Weekly Live here with you on a Monday. A new week of Betting Weekly Live. Post Super Bowl, we put football to bed and we get you ready here on Betting Weekly Studios, of course, part of the Bet Rivers Network. Mike Carver along with Doug Kezirian. Great to have everybody with us here today. Doug, good to see you. Happy Monday. I don't know if I should bury the Super Bowl first or not bury the lead that we got the gentleman's sweep Friday night with the 4 out of 5. I mean, we had ourselves a great week. It was a fun Super Bowl for some of us, and now we're ready to roll. Good to see you, Doug.
I mean, we were celebrating more than the Seahawks, right? They merely had victory cigars. We were storming the streets shirtless and Frank the Tank style. So, we are talking about the most important result of the entire weekend.
Oh, it was 4 out of 5 daily double for us on Betting Weekly Live. That's what really matters, not the Super Bowl. But we will start there, of course, after the Seahawks beat the Patriots last night, Super Bowl 60. We start the opening line here talking about the game. These things get overanalyzed, Doug. We spend 2 weeks talking about the matchup, talking about the line movement, talking about everything. And at the end of the day, it kind of was just staring us in the face the entire time, right?
It really was Occam's razor, right? The solution with the least amount of assumptions is usually the right one. So we're assuming all these things where it's like, no, the NFC was dominant and far better than the AFC. The Seahawks were clearly the best team over the last, let's call it 3 months. And the Patriots' schedule was terrible. They played with the lead a lot, which is a lot easier, which actually speaks to Sam Darnold. But just playing with the lead when you're facing weak competition, that was my biggest beef with those who voted for May in the MVP. They said, well, if you look at the defenses, like the defensive ratings that he faced, it's like, yeah, but when you have a lead against, okay, we'll throw out the Jets because no one was arguing them, but the Dolphins and stuff, that defense is not as good as when you're down and trailing like Stafford. But that's neither here nor there with this. It's just the Patriots really dropped the ball in a lot of ways. Now, the Seahawks were the best team. We should have unloaded, and I'm mad at myself for respecting the sharp money. In the long run, that's usually the right way to go. You got to respect it. It's not like I bet the Patriots because you always got to play your own stuff. But it did get me off big wagers on the Seahawks. I did mention no touchdown first half. There were some 10-1s out there on that. But I was pretty disappointed with 2 things. My 2 concerns that kept me from wagering heavily on Seattle was the wide range of variance with Sam Darnold. And he tried to throw an interception early. He forced one. It got tipped up. So again, the ball can tip a few inches here and there, and all of a sudden the Patriots are playing with a lead all game. The other one was the coaching staff of New England. Pretty disappointed with Josh McDaniels. I think Vrabel did a great job with the defense, and they certainly held up, all things considered. But McDaniels just won Assistant of the Year, okay? He did not make a single adjustment, far from a McDaniels masterpiece. He just kept doing the long dropbacks. Will Campbell was getting beat on the left side repeatedly. And those drop-offs and dinks and dunks that we saw at the end of the game that I thought we were going to see much more of, he should have got May into a rhythm, got him settled down and things like that. That really tires the defense out. That's why I liked Travion Henderson over his catches and things like that. It was really pathetic by the Patriots just to have such tunnel vision on his game plan and things like that. Like, make the adjustments. We saw Zignetti do that in the Rose Bowl. First possession, 3 and out with the only 2 dropbacks, sacks of Mendoza. Zignetti's like, all right, let me turn the page, go to some emergency plans, and all of a sudden he's got clean pockets and Mendoza's hitting guys between the numbers. These coaches, I was just really kind of pathetic that McDaniels was so elementary for a guy that I had such respect for over the years.
I agree with you on McDaniels. I think that there's some things they could have changed, obviously, a lot earlier in that game to try to, give him a little help on that left-hand side. But I also thought, Doug, that they, and this is the NFL, I know you're not supposed to do this, but coaches do it. I think that they were a little lax on how hurt Drake May was. I think he was a little more banged up than they let on. You heard the news, of course, after the game about him getting the shot beforehand. That's something that he probably could have been on the injury report a little bit more on Thursday and Friday. I know he was Wednesday. And he took one hit early in the game And it seemed like it really affected him there going forward. Now, look, fourth quarter was garbage time. And if you had some May props, suddenly you had a smile on your face. What do you throw? Wait, there were 230 in the fourth quarter, Doug May, at the end of the day, threw for 230 yards in the one quarter alone. And they made you sweat a little bit for that under. But I thought he was a lot more compromised than they let on.
I think that's a great point. He did share post game that he took a shot. So he says it felt whatever, right? But I imagine that limited his practice, right? Because in theory, it heals every day that you don't use it and things like that. So that's obviously disappointing. You want teams at full strengths, but that's even more so if you have a young quarterback. I mean, he's really young, playing with an injury in the biggest stage. And I said it last week. I thought just Darnold having been there before, even as a backup, is just going to be helpful. And I just thought the coaching staff, a lot of May's jitters, because there were guys a couple times they were open and they just missed them. I think the jitters are on the coaching staff. You got to talk to them the right way. You got to know which buttons to push with each player, right? That's coaching, right? And I think I forget which defender for Seattle explained it about why their defense is so good. And he basically said Mike McDonald knows how to simplify the scheme or whatever to the player, and not in a macro way, in a micro way. So it's just kind of like, if you see this, you do this. If you don't, you do that. And that's the number one rule of coaching, right? Getting everyone to do what you want them to do. That's the hardest thing to do for any coach. And I think this coaching staff had them all on a string. And I loved how they broke tendencies, right? With Witherspoon blitzing. That's something that did not happen very often at all in the regular season. And there were just no curveballs from the Patriots. It was so limited. But I mean, you look at, like, within the first couple drives, you're like, oh my gosh, there's just a giant gap between these rosters. It was definitely smoke and mirrors. So Vrabel earned that coach of the year to turn a 4-win team into what he did. Now, the defense was solid, right? Like, Gonzalez had some huge plays, and he's fantastic, and he lived up to that. But the offense is just so limited, right? Like, really bare. The receivers are okay. The running backs are kind of a dime a dozen, although Henderson's got pretty top-end speed, all things considered. But you just look at their offense against some of these high-powered attacks like the Rams and what the Seahawks, how they had a shootout. It's pretty crazy that this Patriots team was so just mediocre at best.
And before we turn the page to next year, which we're going to do here today on Betting Weekly Live, I do want to say one more time, I saw some people mention in the chat box here as we get going on the show. We had a pretty good week, Doug, all in all. A lot of the stuff that we talked about all week long here on Betting Weekly Live. I mean, listen, I tell anybody who talked to me about the Seattle over 3.5 sacks, it was something that I was really hammering all week long. The Booty over 17.5 longest catch, which was, I think, the only catch he had in the game, too, was that little 20-21 yarder there. And, Doug, the Henderson props came through at the end. And we
Last
talked.
play of the game got there with yards.
We sure did. And we talked about Myers and the MVP number at 100-1. And, Doug, you talked about it, and it was very much in play all the way to the end until Walker, once Walker busted that 140, 150 yard marker, you kind of had a feeling it was going to be him.
I mean, look, it's people are like, well, Walker didn't even score and blah, blah, blah. I know, but, the kicker, yes, he had a record 5 field goals, 17 points total, but he's also only on the field for like 8 plays. Okay. Mm-hmm. And all the field goals, I think the longest field goal was 41. So, I mean, who's more valuable? Who's more instrumental in the win? When you had a guy just sort of, 20 plus yards receiving, 135 on the ground, I believe. Once you get to that point, a little kind of undeniable. Before I went to bed, which was in the wee hours of the morning, I was trying to find the voting. I'm curious how the voting breakdown was. I know 80% is like the 15 voters, I want to say, media members, but 20% is NFL.com, and the NFL.com ballot did not even have Myers. How about that?
I saw you tweet that. That what is that about? How do you not have him at least on there, considering the type of game that it was? And I'm surprised that they let that. What'd you say? It is 15% goes towards that.
So 20%, and then 80% is the 15 media members. or 11 or 13, one of those numbers.
Right.
Look, he was 10-1 in the live market at one point. I think that was the lowest I saw. I mean, Darnold was plus 850, but after the game, like the final drive, right, like 20 seconds to go, I saw a live number of uh, Walker minus 550, and I'm like, this is free money.
Yeah. He was at that point. He was winning, and I was hoping he would have got that last one that they called back for holding. I know many that would have crushed the under for everybody. I think
that would have been the worst beat of all time. I really do.
I think so too.
I really do.
And I full disclosure, I did play the over before the game at 45.5. I thought it might get there. I would have took it, Doug, but I would have felt so dirty winning that bet with how the first 3 quarters of that game went. But I did go in, Doug, at halftime. I wasn't done. 29.5, 30.5, and thankfully those got home without a problem later on in the game.
And I took a piece early second quarter, 25-1, no touchdown. So I was looking good going to the fourth. The key is the Darnold fumble, and that set up the May fumble. And that set up the Seahawks in like positive territory. 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 9, they got a first down.
Yeah.
That was painful because it was looking like another field goal. And honestly, you start getting up to 6 or 7 field goals, no touchdowns, then Myers can start to have a case. But I just think Walker just controlled, and Walker was the biggest sort of piece in the first half. Like the first half, Darnold couldn't do anything. I mean, Darnold started to play well with the touchdown pass, but again, they took over possession on the 30-something yard line. Like, I mean, Darnold's good and had a really nice run, and I'm so happy for him. But let's pump the brakes on thinking he's all of a sudden this franchise quarterback. There's tons of quarterbacks I'd rather take over him. It's much easier to play quarterback when you have an elite defense, one of the best coaching staffs, and also play with the lead seemingly all the time.
And now they will be one of your co-favorites, at least to start the offseason here. The day after the Super Bowl at Bet Rivers, the Seahawks are 9-1 for Super Bowl 61, which will be in Los Angeles at SoFi. The Rams also at 9-1. Then you get the Bills, Ravens, Packers, Eagles, Lions, Chiefs. Lowest we've seen the Chiefs going into a season in a while. Chargers, Pats, Niners, Broncos, Texans, Jaguars, all 20-1 or lower as we start to look to next year, Doug.
Yeah, it's always hard to kind of pick something and then that won't cash for a year in theory. Yeah. I'll say this, a couple things. I thought the most significant coaching hire, I think, was Mike McDaniel to the Chargers. I don't think people realize how good of a play caller he is. That Dolphins offense without him is like the Browns offense, okay? We saw how pedestrian the Browns offense is and things like that. With McDaniels doing all these wizardry stuff, I think you put him with Herbert and some of the speed they have and obviously a good defense and a solid coach. I think their upside is really hard. I just don't think plus 1,500 is a number you need to lock down right now. We talk about it all the time. When you bet futures, the farther the end game is, so to speak, the more it's about long shots and things like that. 15, like what's it going to go to? 1250? I mean, like, come on.
Right.
So you're really going to tie something up. You can always get it later in the world, come season. And I just think the AFC West is so tough with the Chiefs seemingly going to be back. We imagine they're going to add a piece in the draft and have health. We'll see about Mahomes' knee. Broncos probably not going to be the 1 seed, but they're still going to be good. They still have a good defense. And I think the Raiders could be probably pretty solid. At least frisky at home. If they spend that $100 million on the offensive line, they got weapons coming back. They're just not going to be a punch line and punching bag that they were this past year. And obviously, we'll see about Mendoza. So they could be a team that gets like 5 or 6 wins at home or something like that. So I just think the Chargers, you don't need to bet it, but I think that's the biggest move in my eyes that was done in the offseason that I think is going to have huge upside.
Yeah, and they're kind of like right in that pack with all these other teams to start. It's hard for me, Doug, I'll tell you. Unless there's something I got a real good feeling about, so many things happen in today's NFL and free agency and trades and the draft, and there's so much that other than that year where, everyone was kind of thinking that Brady would go to Tampa and they got these enormous numbers on Tampa before Brady went there. It's difficult for me to try to lock this stuff down 12 months in advance. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple prices that I couldn't fault anyone, not the Chargers, but a couple others. The Bengals at plus 2,800. I know they got a leaky defense, to say the least. What am I missing? Wasn't this team one of like the 4 favorites coming in this year? Like,
Yeah.
I understand the AFC is pretty loaded, and that's important to remember. So the Chiefs reload, all things considered. The Bills do, the Ravens do, and then now we have the Patriots. Now we have the Broncos. Now we have the Texans. So this AFC is certainly stacked. But Joe Burrow and the Bengals at 28-1, and I think that division is on the decline a little bit, right? The Browns still stink. The Steelers are finally going to regress, especially if Rodgers comes back. That team with Bozo as their head coach is not going to do anything. So it's really a 2-horse race, and we'll see if Lamar can stay healthy. So I think the Bengals 28-1 seems really strange.
I like that, Bozo.
I called him Meathead forever, but McCarthy.
How about a long? Give me one long distance NFC one too. Give me one.
Well, if you believe in the NFC being as wide open as we think it is, right? And we just saw the Seahawks come out of nowhere. Why not the Atlanta Falcons at 66-1? Now, who's going to play quarterback? Is it Penix? Like, what are we looking at from a recovery standpoint? Cousins, but they have some ridiculous weapons. I mean, just London and Bijan alone, right? Like, how do you not score 30 a game with those two guys? So you have Stefanski coming in, and that's going to be really impressive. I think he's going to do something with that offense, and it's not like that division is anything to write home about. I like Baker Mayfield and the Bucs and all, but they still got a questionable coach and all that. And the Panthers, come on, Bryce Young's still a midget. Unless he hits a growth spurt, then let me know. So that division is shaky. So I'm still with the Falcons. Again, you're trying to find some bombs here on the tickets. So I just that offense, and they have a home field advantage with the dome and everything. Bijan Robinson's incredible. Drake London catches everything within the hash mark. So I'd have to maybe pull the trigger there.
Staying with the Falcons, because I saw this, not because I peeked over. Bet Rivers did have the MVP already up too this morning for next year. And we know the quarterbacks win every year. We're very aware of all of that. But 150-1 for Bijan Robinson. You just think it, like you said, he's unbelievable. Could have close to 2,000 all-purpose yards, all that. If Atlanta does end up being really good, we had Jonathan Taylor in the conversation for a little while this year while the Colts were good. That seems like a real deep number for a guy who's definitely one of the 5 best non-quarterbacks in the league in terms of touching the football.
Yeah, I mean, look, 150-1. I mean, I did get 100-1 that he went to the Falcons, so I landed that. Of course, the website that let me bet it, I had like $8.42, and I had to explain it, split it with someone. But I will say this, as a guy who's leading the Jonathan Taylor charge for a little bit, fundamentally, you can't say a running back's never going to win. For the rest of eternity, at some point, a running back will win. Okay. At some point, unless they completely change the award and they do an MVP and then they do Player of the Year award and then they also do Offensive Player of the Year award, one of those things. But until the beginning of time, and I like the Tyler Shook, there's going to be a running back at some point. I think Taylor could have done it. Like the lanes were there, right? The so-so quarterback, so the running back's going to get the honor, get the attention. They were on their way to a 1 seed. Daniel Jones got hurt, whatever. Okay. It does take a couple other quarterbacks to go down, but if the Falcons are that special, and he's really likable, and then once you get some reporters talking to defensive coordinators and head coaches saying, yeah, we game plan against him, we can't stop him. I mean, he is virtually unstoppable. He's got, Barry Sanders meets like Derrick Henry kind of thing with him. So I can certainly support a 150-1 bomb on Bijan Robinson.
McCaffrey was too at 150-1 also, considering he's another guy that also gets in the conversation from here and there, and he's obviously got.
I wonder his health and decline. I just wonder, like, the shelf life of these guys is just so unfortunately small.
If I had to pick one of those two at 150-1, it's Bijan Robinson, Doug. Believe me, I'm going to go Bijan if I'm taking a real big shot like that. NFL offseason's here. Let's go. What's the combine? Like 2 or 3 weeks away? running around in shorts, free agency. It's all right around the
Underwear
corner.
Olympics. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. NFL season, right? It'll be here before we know it again here on Betting Weekly Live. All right, it is February, though. And at Bet Rivers, we have got a February fun bet for you. Tennis, soccer, basketball, whatever sport you're following right now, bet on it with a February fun bet. Betting Weekly and Bet Rivers have teamed up to give you a $10 bonus bet at Bet Rivers when you enter the bonus code BW201. That code again, BW201. Offer expires on February 15th. Must be 21. Eligible players only. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And yes, we are now deep into the winter sports for the next couple of months here on Betting Weekly Live, including, of course, the NBA, which they will be shutting down at the end of this week for their week-long, seems like a month long, it feels like, All-Star break. Now, you made a little hint to this last week. So before I even get into the 10 games tonight, Doug, there's 4 nights here, Monday through Thursday, and then they're gone. You had made a comment when we were discussing the NHL close and like, the NBA, these guys, they're looking towards that break. Is that just overall general the next 4 nights here, something that we should be thinking about in these NBA games?
So it reminds me around like 2010, I'm sitting there with like a huge, 12.5 point home favorite Nuggets ticket with like Mello or whatever. And Doug Collins is on the broadcast. He's like, I always remember it was the hardest games, the last game before the break. And I'm sitting there. I think the Nuggets are losing at home. It's double-digit favorite on the square, laying the chalk. And I just made a mental note. This week, you got to be careful. Now, you got to be careful any day because look at the T-Wolves yesterday. Got blown out at home by the Clippers. I just think it's senioritis. So it's just another variable. Now, it doesn't mean the road team who's an underdog that can't have senioritis, but it's just another unknown. And a lot of times they're either planning a vacation out of the country or something because the extended break now over All-Star week, but also like the parties and their sponsors and their paid, appearance fees. There's just a lot going on in their personal lives. And we've already rendered the regular season meaningless in a lot of ways. So you just got to be really careful this week. Now, again, it's kind of like bad weather in a football game. It's the same for both teams, right? It's the same senioritis for both teams. But again, another unknown. You just got to be more careful. But you got to always be careful with the NBA. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what results we have. But there's nothing you can sort of say as a blanket rule, like, oh, underdogs cover this week. Like there was a run for a couple Christmases about 10 years ago where everyone was betting first quarter unders, thinking it was like people were, focused on their kids at home with the Christmas gifts are just nonsense. None of this stuff is really accurate. It's just another variable. You got to be careful.
I think the one night for me personally that it would maybe play in more than others is obviously Thursday because it's a very limited schedule. There's only 3 games, and those 6 teams are probably like, can you believe everyone else is getting an extra day but us? Like, why the hell are we got to be out here on Thursday night when basically the whole entire league's already off on vacation? I bet you those teams Thursday night would probably be a little bit more checked out than anybody.
And I think it matters. Like LA's hosting the game, right? So I think there's going to be a little bit of excitement to go on. I mean, I remember in 2007 during the Super Bowl, the All-Star weekend, it was crazy. And the previous year they had been in Houston, and the next year they were going to New Orleans. So everyone was like really excited. I mean, there were stories on atmosphere models, let's call them, flying in for that weekend and things like that. So it's pretty crazy. Like when the draft was here, every lobby was swarmed. It's just mayhem. So the fact that it's in LA, I think, adds another sort of wild card component to this.
Well, what I really can't wait for this week, Doug, is on Friday when you break down for me this new, once again, another new format for Adam Silver in the All-Star game with the world and the stripes and all this other stuff, this round robin that they're going to play on Sunday in the NBA All-Star game. But we got a few days before we have to dive into that. Let's go to tonight. Peacock doubleheader on a Monday. The Bucks are in Orlando against the Magic. Magic minus 11, 220.5 the total.
Sorry, I was just getting caught up in the All-Star. I can't think about what's worse. I mean, I guess the NFL has to have the worst All-Star sort of situation. They played it on a Wednesday in like a convention center, but still, this NBA thing is just nonsense. Okay, NBA. We got a double-digit spread. So the Bucks added Cam Thomas off the waiver wire
Ooh.
after I think I bet him 2 years ago or last year to lead the league in scoring at like 150 to 1,
Mm.
just because he's a gunner. So it's another gunner for the Bucks, who obviously don't have Giannis. And I mean, what can you do? What can you say about this game? I don't know. I will say Rollins, the point guard's the one guy on Milwaukee who continues to bring it. So either his points over prop is something I'm keeping an eye on, or his points plus assists. I mean, if you pass the ball to shooters and they bomb, and they got some bombers, it's interesting. But Rollins is a guy who's pretty rock solid. Rajon Rondo was on Doc's staff and taking him under his wing. So when they had some injuries to begin the season, Rollins was the guy who kind of came out of nowhere and was a nice sort of, I don't know, silver lining in a bad season. So it's been nice to see him emerge. I just can't lay double digits with Orlando. Every once in a while, sure, they'll cover a big number, but they've just been so incredibly unreliable. I just want no part of it. And again, the NBA, you always got to be a little careful. But I do know sharp money that's come in on Orlando. I just think Milwaukee's going to be a little frisky at times. Remember in the playoffs, they had all those guys hurt, and I laid a big number, and went to like triple overtime. They really should have won, and like Gary Trent couldn't catch the ball when he was about to get fouled to went out of bounds. I think it was the Pacers. So the Pacers won that game, and that was one of those 20-point comebacks or whatever, those late comebacks, the dramatic run for Indy. But in general, I just can't lay it. There's got to be better things to do with one's money than lay double digits with Orlando.
There probably is, or at least I hope that there is. I was actually just looking. These teams that are playing Thursday, most of them are playing 3 days and 3 games and 4 nights too. That's the
I think
Lakers.
we probably should attack some totals. I'll hit the books on
The
that one.
Bucks are one of them. They're playing Orlando again Wednesday, and then they're playing the Thunder Thursday. So the Bucks are playing 3 times in 4 nights here before the break, starting with this game in Orlando coming up this evening. The late game is the Lakers, who I just mentioned. They're also playing 3 games in 4 nights, as are the Thunder. Thunder are in LA tonight, -7 on the road, 223.5. Is this a little heavy here for the Thunder, Doug, with no SGA? Is this a little too much?
Yeah, I mean, no
Luka's out.
Luka.
Luka's
Yeah,
out.
Luka's
There
out,
you go.
but Austin Reeves is back, played pretty well. He came off the bench, and LeBron's playing pretty well. But this Warriors team that they beat on Saturday, I think the halftime score was like 42-41. It was terrible. And yeah, they had a buck 20 in the second half combined, but they were bombing in the three. Like, I still don't think the Lakers can score much. I mean, LeBron's still old, all things considered, by NBA standards, and the Thunder locked down on D. I do think the Lakers have more size than people realize. A guy like Rui Hachimura is a monster if you think about his size and his frame and everything. I'd look at the Lakers team total in the first half under. I just think this is a team off 3 straight wins. OKC, rock solid defensively. 51.5 is not a huge number, but when you don't have Luka and the pace is pretty slow for LA, this Thunder team's going to bring it. So I was torn between doing first half under in terms of a team total, or just taking the Lakers team total each quarter, first and second quarter under. You're likely going to go 1-1, but I think you have a great chance going 2-0 compared to 0-2.
Lakers first half team total there tonight against the Thunder. Of course, that is the late game on Peacock.
But with OKC, sorry to interrupt, my man. You mentioned it. I think you got to mention they're off back-to-back losses. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why you're catching. And Hartenstein's such a big part of what they do. He had double-digit assists in the last game. I mean, you don't think. I mean, remember, we were doing that in the finals, his prop of like under 5.5 points and like over 3.5 assists or whatever it was, 11 assists. So he's a big piece of why. And I was talking to a pro bettor recently when everything was rolling along in the Thunder or whatever. And he just said Hartenstein's the key to them. That's why he can't lay big numbers with them, because him being out. So now Holmgren's in his usual spot, can sort of play the power forward, the stretch four. And you have some dudes with Dort and Wallace on defense who just got to be miserable to play against. So there's a lot to like. And Caruso's back. So I'd honestly look at the Thunder, something like that. I think this Lakers team, off 3 straight wins, they're a little flimsy here. I don't think they'll have the edge. I think OKC off back-to-back losses will have the edge.
By the way, that loss to the Rockets on Saturday did clinch that the Thunder can't get to 70 wins this year, Doug. I know we spent a lot of time, as did everybody else, through
Can
the
they
first
get to
2 months.
74? Because I bet that.
They have 13 losses now. They cannot get to 70 wins, the Thunder, this season. All right, let's do some other ones. How about my Hornets? They have won 9 in a row. And I was so surprised to see, Doug. I was like, man, they must have moved up the standings a ton. They're just in the last play-in spot after winning 9 in a row. That's how bad the start was to the year for them. But they're home for the Pistons tonight. Pistons -3 on the road, 221.5.
Just like to do a little division check of the Southeast. They're 3 games back, so there they are lurking. I think we were giving out 20-1 or something like that not too long ago.
We were.
So, I say this when like the Kings have lost 5 or 6 straight. Like they're not going to lose out. So the Hornets are not going to win out, right? So when are they going to? Now, do you want to catch the falling knife here? Probably. The Detroit's really good, right? Like they're the 1 seed in the East right now. But they got some issues from a health standpoint. Jalen Duren, I think he's going to play tonight. He's probable, but just it's worth mentioning. They made some trades recently, right? So they got to weave some guys. I like Herter. So they got him and Duncan Robinson to shoot. I think they needed to do that. Jaden Ivey was a little too ball dominant for all the guys they already had. You feel stupid laying 3 on the road against a team that's won 9 straight because, they'd be a lot higher in the standings if they didn't have so many injuries. So this Charlotte team, like their profile is probably a lot higher. And that's something that to keep in mind because to go to Atlanta and win, and Atlanta's a pretty good team without, since trading Trae Young or not having to play Trae Young. There's a lot to like with this team. I really, really think they're impressive. Now, they do play Grant Williams off the bench, so you can't be that good if you do that. But Diabate has been a nice piece in the middle, although I thought Kalkbrenner was good too. Hornets to make the playoffs is interesting. I wouldn't bet the no. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't bet the no.
They're plus 450 for the division now. You had it about 20, whatever it was, a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week. Honestly, not that long ago. And their adjusted win total is now 42.5. The Hornets for the season.
Okay.
So, and that was what? That number was in the 20s, Doug, preseason, something like that, I think. The Hornets.
Yeah, it was 18.5 or 22.5, one of those.
Wow. Unbelievable. Hornets tonight against the Pistons. Let's go next to Minnesota, where we can never figure out the T-Wolves. They have the Hawks tonight, -8 at home, 237.5 the total.
Look, I think the T-Wolves have issues. Master of the obvious. But I just don't understand how, because they were playing hard in the third quarter. They cut the lead to like 8. It was like a 12-0 run. So I think you just have to wait the Atlanta health report. It's up to 8. It was 6.5 overnight, up to 8. And Dyson Daniels and Jalen Johnson, if they don't play because they're on the injury, then this could be an absolute blowout. Now, it's going to be a lot of McCollum, a lot of Alexander Walker. Kongu got returned from injuries recently, but you just have to think the T-Wolves can get it together. But the key here is they don't have a point guard. And maybe they're re-adding Conley. I don't know what's going on. He was traded twice. That means they can have him. But yesterday's game with the Clippers, the reason it went way under, and the announcer said it, and I was like, oh, that's why. No point guard for either team. And, I get it. It's positionless basketball, blah, blah, blah. But if you don't have a point guard running your offense, then everyone's not getting fed and getting to eat. And it's just a lot of issues there. So the Hawks, they don't have a guy like Trae Young setting the table, although he was a shooter and scorer and all that. I wonder if we should just hammer the under here because no point guard really. Some of these guys do a nice job handling the ball, but it's just not the same. And 237.5 is a big number. So give me the under, Carver.
All right. Under Hawks and T-Wolves tonight, 237.5 in Minnesota. The Cavs and the Nuggets in Denver tonight. Right now, Nuggets getting one. I got actually at Bet Rivers, Cavs -1 now. It just moved to 239.5 is the total. I did do a little extra NBA digging this morning, Doug, I guess because I didn't have any NHL tonight on my hands. So I decided to do a little extra NBA digging. And the Nuggets, of course, best over team in the NBA this year. The Cavs have scored, 124 or more in 5 straight games. Can we get this over 239.5 here tonight? I know it's some altitude and a long road trip for Cleveland, but can we get there?
I think we just have to wait. We don't know who's playing, right? So Evan Mobley, we know, is definitely out for the Cavs. And then we just don't know about the Nuggets. Murray, very important piece, questionable. And Spencer Jones, I want to say, is definitely out for. Yeah, and so Cam Johnson's back, but he's nothing to write home about. Christian Brown's back. Um, I just think, and it's a huge number, right? So I'm not in a rush to play under just because it's a Cavs game, but I think Jokic could eat. I mean, seriously eat in this game. And 239.5 is too big of a number. I just don't understand the Cavs power rating. Like, why are they pick and the Nuggets aren't like 2 here, right? Or 2.5. I just don't really, I don't respect this Cavs team. I like Mitchell a lot. Don't like Harden. That's well documented. Maybe they get him. I just haven't had a good read on this Cavs team. They were terrible for the first half of the season, ATS, but I think they've picked it up a little bit recently.
Well, if we can't get this over, maybe we can go late night at Golden State. Darryl likes the under as well. Grizzlies and the Warriors tonight, just after 10 o'clock East. Warriors minus 9.5, 218.5 the total.
Warriors team's pretty bad. This number keeps going up. I don't know why. Now Aldama's out, but that shouldn't change anything. Is Steph back?
Steph's out according to my sheet. I have Steph.
Yeah, he's out for weeks, right? He's out for a couple weeks. He's officially out, so I don't know why this number's like is what it is. Porzingis may be coming back. I don't know.
He's listed as out too.
Yeah, give me the Grizzlies all day. Now they're not good. I mean, they have a lot of like, who's this guy? But so do the Warriors. Ty Jerome. Yeah. So he missed Friday's game. Saturday. You want to know what his points prop was, Carver?
What was it?
19.5.
Ooh, we're catching on. We're starting to catch on.
But it landed 13. So
are we back down tonight? What do we got tonight?
Now. I don't know. I feel like it's a bounce back spot for Jerome. It's back 13.5. Yeah. I mean, he only played 20 minutes.
Cam was a banger on Friday night, and he's at 11.5. Spencer we hit it. You got him Friday night in the Daily Double.
Yeah, we got it like, I think early third or something like that. My phone just started getting alerts of like people liking things. I was like, oh, nice. We got there. Cause I think it was a good number at half. I think it was 5 for a while. And he had a 3 in a bucket, like right near the end, right near halftime. So I was like, oh, 10 at halftime. We're good. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't play under, but I would play over. I just don't know, what's going on there. Like why he wasn't gunning more.
Right.
KCP at 14 attempts. That doesn't help. So I don't know. It's not a good team. I think the number's too big. I'm on the dog here, plus 9.5. This Pajemski's been terrible.
This Santos is up to 11.5 now too. Santos,
he's a nice piece. I picked the wrong guy the night before I was on.
Santos was no sweat that night. Santos flew through the number.
We got there, just but Draymond shooting early in the shot clock, things like that. I think Santos might have to be because I think we're going to see a lot of points tonight. The over is probably a really good bet, to be honest. Right. I mean, I think we're going to be an up and down, but yeah, Guy Santos. Man, 12.5 minus. I might even have to go 11.5 at the juice, minus 137. That's probably a really good bet. Now that you mention it, Santos is the guy.
Santos,
and this Memphis team wants to run. This overs. I would look at some alt overs too, like 10 points higher. Santos, I think he's the guy.
He's the guy. There you go.
I think that's the bet. I think Guy Santos over 12.5. Jerome, I mean, who am I to go against the guy? We had 2 winners last week with him.
He's been very good to us. Very good to us here on this show. Best of the rest. Another 239.5. Actually, first, Dafar, I want to know 6th man of the year for Naz Reid this year.
I mean, I know Jamal Crawford won multiple times, but it's really hard to win this thing, especially this season when there's so many worthy candidates. I'm gonna get briefed on my awards markets here, but so he's the favorite, huh? Plus one. Keldon Johnson, Hawkes, nah. AJ Mitchell was the guy for a while, but he got hurt. Shepard could make a late run at 18-1. Hardaway Jr.'s no. Shoot, maybe it is Nas
Maybe it
Reed.
is him.
Grayson Allen could be a nice wager as well.
Where they got him
I'll
at?
hit the phone. We'll have an update tomorrow.
All right, we'll circle back to this tomorrow. Best of the rest. Another 239.5, but this time it's the Jazz and the Heat, South Beach style with the Heat -7. Can we get this as a banger over?
Yeah, probably. I mean, this Utah team definitely likes to run. We've established that. Their offense just so much better on the road, though. We've definitely discussed that. But Keontae George still out. That concerns me because he's got actual skill and he bails out like scoring droughts with just some incredible shot making. They did play Saturday, somehow gave up 120 points to the Orlando Magic. So who knows what Miami's going to put up on them. But George being out that does bother me. Hero's out, which is actually a good thing for the over, to believe it or not. It's a big number, but I would bet over before I bet under.
Any interest?
But remember, Miami's the highest first quarter scoring team. So you get line value in the first quarter, first half. And I know I talked about it last week, and then they had like 10 points, or Boston was like 0 of 9 from 3, and it was like first half went like 95 points. Yeah, I mean, Jazz first half. I usually don't back them like on a number like that, but you never know. I think first half over is probably a really good play.
Any interest in the Bulls as a road favorite in Brooklyn of 4 points?
I mean,
no,
not really.
I don't have any either.
Did they punt on the season or not? Like, I can't really figure that out.
I don't know really what they're doing. I don't think anybody knows what the Bulls are doing.
Giddey's doubtful. Trey Jones is out. So it's a lot of Ivy and Simons.
Could be,
but then you also get
night.
Okoro and Jalen Smith.
Net money line night, maybe. Nets at home. Money line.
Nets are so bad. I lost too much money on them. Not a lot, but I hate losing on them because they're so bad. Remember, I had the first quarter team total against the Lakers. They're bad.
You know what? We've had too many nights where they lose by 50. That's just way too many nights of that. Couple 40 loss teams with the Kings and the Pelicans tonight in New Orleans. Couple 40 loss teams. That's right. Pelicans.
Well, that's exciting.
It's a big number too. 9 for the Pelicans.
Wow. I mean, how are they laying that kind of lumber?
I mean, well, it seems like everybody's out for the Kings. I mean, Sabonis, Levine, everybody. I mean, nobody's playing.
Is that a bad thing if Sacramento guys are out?
This is the Kings probably tonight.
Sabonis is worthy. Levine's obviously scores. Monk out. Okay, so we're looking at a lot of Westbrook, DeRozan, Dylan Cardwell. This guy's like the black Mark Madsen. He like gets the crowd going, gets all rebounds. He's like Kurt Rambis out there. I mean, look, every team needs a guy who's like, energy and everything. Meet Clifford. It's his birthday today. I saw on Twitter, so he could go off. This is not a good team at all.
The Sixers finish off a West Coast trip where they've actually been pretty good. They're 3-1 on this trip as they head to Portland, and they're a very short road favorite, 3.5.
I mean, I was impressed with the win in Phoenix because, the Suns are best team in the NBA against the spread. They've been so great. I would take Portland here, but they've been terrible. So I don't know. They did beat Memphis, which is they back-to-back. I mean, they beat the Grizzlies, that 2-game series, whatever we're calling them. I don't know. Sixers have been strong. And usually teams run through the tape at the end of these long road trips. It's like the back half of the trip you got to worry about, not the last game. So I'd probably take, I don't know. I'm on both teams here, so I'm going to pass.
Okay. Yeah, you pass. It's a little late night game with Philly and Portland.
There
you go.
Maybe a bailout.
Never know. Hey, late night. We love those games. There you go. NBA tonight. 10 games for us as we're getting close to the All-Star break there. All right, college basketball. Great weekend. Wasn't great for Duke. Man, that was brutal on Saturday night. But other games were very good to us in college basketball. Let's start with this banger, this heavy hitter game tonight, which is number 1 Arizona visiting number 9 Kansas. Arizona -2.5, 153.5 is the total. I really feel like, Doug, I want to. I know Arizona's better than Kansas, but I go to the back of my mind us not taking Kansas in the Iowa State game. And I keep thinking about that going, should we take Kansas tonight because of how good they are in these spots?
Yeah, that's why I'm siding with Arizona in the first half. Arizona's got up for these games. We took them first half against, what was it, BYU or something. They were up 15 at the break, something like that. They're really good. I do think Lloyd probably wants them to lose at some point. I don't think you want the extra pressure of going undefeated into the tournament, but it's nice to win a championship undefeated. So there's that angle. But to your point, Kansas is really special at home. In fact, Bill Self at the Fog on Big Monday, 38-0.
Wow.
Now, a lot of times they were laying 13 against, Nebraska and some of the old Big 12 days and whatever. But I don't want to lay this number. I think first half's the way to go. I do think, but the question is, Peterson sometimes sits second half, right? I mean, is this almost like an NFL preseason game where like the other team should be favored in the first half of Peterson's health?
Look, I know Arizona's going to get that. They're going to lose that 0 at some point here. This is the start of this stretch for them.
Yeah.
At Kansas, home Texas Tech, at home BYU, at Houston, at Baylor, home Kansas. That's the rest of the month. So they're playing Kansas twice here in about a 3-week span. They're going to lose.
Is BYU any good right now? Like, do you worry about them? I don't worry about Texas Tech in Tucson. All right.
But they're good teams. They're not playing Cincinnati or West Virginia. They're decent.
Well, yeah.
teams.
Look, a 5-leg money line parlay is going to be plus money. Right? I get it.
Right.
I'm going first half. I do think the Jayhawks probably get the win. I just don't want to be try to keep. I've been pretty good about picking spots against this Arizona team. I don't want to stop now. So if I had to play this game, I would play the Cats on the first half line.
And that is a late game on ESPN just after 9 o'clock East. The game before them is the ACC game where NC State will visit Louisville. Louisville minus 7.5, 162.5 the total.
This number seems fishy, doesn't it?
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty high, but so is the total.
It's a lot.
But I'm not a big Will Wade guy. I think at first glance, I thought he should keep this inside the number, but this number is getting some steam here. I think this is a sucker bet on the dog. It's a dog with fleas. I'd lay off.
Laying off tonight, 7.5 for the Cardinal. At the Garden in New York City, we have St. John's and Xavier on a Monday night. Remember, Garden, not Carnesecca this evening. 16.5 for the Johnnies, 160.5 total.
All right, so obviously the Johnnies off the big win on Friday against UConn. And it's his son, and he doesn't probably want to blow him out, and he's close with his son.
Oh, you got to drop the hammer with the
Xavier's not good, and they just got smoked by recently. 32 at UConn. Oof. I would have to take Xavier here at first half. Maybe it's just not a game I want to get involved. I think Xavier could get overwhelmed, but it's a terrible spot for the Johnnies.
Coming off just Friday night, that huge win over UConn there for them. And elsewhere tonight, we got a couple of other ones, actually. Oregon and Indiana, Big Ten this evening. Indiana minus 10.5, 142.5 the total.
Yeah, so I bet Purdue first half on Saturday, but I didn't know Nate Biddle was back, and that changed everything. So I played Oregon at half and caught 11.5 for the game, and they almost won the game. He makes a big difference. This Indiana team, I don't know if they're good enough. I look at the over, even though it's been bet down a little bit. Biddle's their only guy. So he's going to chuck a lot. His prop is like 18.5 or 17. I don't know. I think he changes everything, and he's got size. So I don't know. I don't want to lay 10.5 with the Hoosiers. I'll tell you that.
I definitely don't want to lay 10.5 with the Hoosiers. That much I can assure you there. All right. I got a couple of other mid-majors for you tonight. Let's go to the Coastal. It'll always be the Colonial to me, though, Doug, the CAA. Charleston and UNC Wilmington tonight. Charleston minus 1.5, 148.5 is the total. Wilmington, these are the two best teams in the conference so far this year. Charleston's a game ahead of them. Wilmington's coming off a loss to William and Mary. They've lost them twice now. Charleston's won 5 in a row. They're playing really good. At home tonight, very short favorite. Am I walking down the wrong road here with Charleston minus 1.5, Doug?
Honest, no opinion for me.
Charleston.
I defer to you on this one.
I'm going to Charleston here tonight. I think they're a little bit better than Wilmington this year. It's just under a bucket here, 1.5. I'm going to go. And then Belmont and Bradley. Win after Bradley on Friday night in northern Iowa, and good job by the Panthers. Belmont, best team in that conference. Short favorite, but it's the total I like here. These two played about a month ago, and they blasted this total. It was in the high 160s. Belmont's played a ton of overs. Bradley does like to slow it down, Doug, and maybe on their home floor, maybe that's the way they got to go tonight. But I think 153.5 is a little light for a Belmont game. I think this game can get over.
I defer to you. I lean Belmont here. They've been really reliable, but don't want to force it either.
Don't want to force it. Got some other games tonight. Guys, listen, the mid-majors, Doug, I'm in. And there it is. Henry always brings it up. I purposely wait for Henry to do it. He's always in on these Yale games, and they're minus 5.5 at Howard tonight. Yale couldn't cover versus Brown on Friday. They sure couldn't. Is this it's a beat down against
They were
Howard.
Down at half. They were down at half. They still won by double digits. I mean, I think Yale's really good, but still Yale.
It is.
I would think they'd kill Howard, but I don't know. I don't know why they're playing this game, so I don't know the backstory here.
That is kind of bizarre. This random game with an Ivy team playing. That is a kind of bizarre game out of nowhere.
The number feels cheap without having looked at Howard or anything at all, but the number feels cheap. Yale's good.
Yale is good so far this year. Minus 6.5 for them this evening. All right, college hoops for you tonight. I got one thing for you. Have you watched any of the Winter Olympics, Doug? It's been fun. Actually, before I get there, Betting Weekly Live, of course, part of the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube. Make sure you go and subscribe there if you like us, and you can check out all of our other shows as well, including released earlier today, Betting Weekly EPL. Dan Roebuck, Nigel Seeley, and Jack Wright share their angles in a stacked midweek slate, match day 26, and analyze whether Manchester City can still win the title following the big comeback win in Liverpool. Betting Weekly EPL with Dan, Nigel, and Jack. Go check it out on the Betting Weekly Studios channel now. Winter Olympics are rolling. Nice job by, Tirico just got right in it after the Super Bowl. I think that was a little pre-taped, Doug, but still, Tirico right back to calling the Olympics as soon as the Super Bowl ended last night. We do have some hockey going, other things. The United States ladies are up 5-0 now against Switzerland, but I will tell you, USA women against the Canadian women tomorrow. It's going to start before we get on. USA's minus 134. This is the preliminary game. They're probably going to play again in the gold medal, and the total's 5.5. Now, I had to go and look. Obviously, Doug, in all these major competitions, they play each other usually twice, group round and in the championship round. They have played, and they play each other a lot in friendlies. They have played some bangers in the past year and a half. 10-4 back in December, 6-1 back in November. They got a couple games in the last World Championship. There's a 5-3, a 5-4, a 6-5 in the 2024 World Championships. They've played some high-scoring games. I feel that the tighter game would be the gold medal game. And this game tomorrow, maybe we get some pucks. Over 5.5, United States and Canadian women.
So nothing on the side?
No side for me. I think United States are better than Canada. And I think that they're going – I would rather play them – look, I already have them to win the gold with the number that I got before this all started. I don't know if it's better win, lose this game or not, considering you're going to end up playing them again. But they are better than Canada this time around. That I am pretty sure of.
Usually the favorite holds, and then it's the dog kind of saves it for when it counts. That's my understanding. But you still $1.43 is not even money. Like that's still a pretty price to pay for a game you can lose. So I agree with the there. So you like the over, huh?
I like the over 5.5. I think that the lower scoring game will be the gold medal game. When they play again, that'll be the tight game. This is the game where be a little looser. Things will open up. And I just look, am I watching every USA Canada women's game over the last year and a half? No. But, and I don't know the particulars of all of them. I did go and look, like, are the regulars playing in all these games? I mean, that 10-4 game that I gave you, everyone was in there. Hillary Knight played, all the other. I mean, everyone was in that game, and it was a banger 14-goal game. So I'm gonna have a little fun tomorrow afternoon. Play the over 5.5. I think it's a little light.
All right, I like it. It's a great breakdown. It's well thought out. You're not just like chasing action because football's over, so I like it.
No, I would never do that, Doug. I can't just chase action because football's over. There you go, a little hockey. And tomorrow, we'll give you some stuff for the men because they start. Oh, look at that, the mixed curling gold medal game. USA's favored after the huge upset of Italy earlier today. Minus 157. Now, is Doug more impressed that I knew that they had a huge upset of Italy earlier today? Or that I knew the game was tomorrow? Which one is Doug more impressed with after all of that? That I knew that they beat Italy, Doug. That's what it has to be. That I knew that the United States upset Italy who's the defending gold medal champs in the curling mixed competition. So nice job with them. All right, let's get to the best bets in the Daily Double here this evening. You have kind of angled me towards one, Doug. I was going to go with something else, but the way you spoke about this one game had me thinking, you know what? I'm with you, and I'm going to jump on board a little bit here. Taking Memphis tonight at Golden State. You kind of got a little bones for the Buzzards Golden State team tonight. No Steph, no Porzingis, etc. Grizzlies, we obviously know that they're not very good, but it does seem like a little too much. Grizzlies plus 9.5 for me on my side of the best bet tonight.
We're involved in this game.
Ooh, are you taking it? You had this game? I did not know that.
No. I'm going to go prop in this game.
Ooh, okay.
D. Santos, we touched on it. I'm going to go over 11.5. A little juicier, but we're combining here. It's a parlay. It's a daily double, so I'm okay stomaching that. If you want to do a straight wager, probably 12.5 is better. But for the sake of the daily double, over 11.5. This guy he looks for his shot more than you would think. I mean, he's got some Anderson Varejao in him, right, with his hair and flopping around. But he actually looks for his shot. He shoots and makes threes. There's a chance where he might get only 7 shots. I worry about that. But he's getting about 12, 13 shots. He's around the rim a lot. And this Memphis team wants to run. I think this is going to be an up-and-down game. I think it's going to be very high scoring. So I think we're going to get some garbage points for Santos. So over 11.5. And he's crafty around the rim with some reverse layups and stuff like that. I think this is much more reliable than Quinton Post.
Well, there you go. Now we end up with really the daily double tonight being a same game parlay because we'll go Grizzlies plus the 9.5 with Santos over 11.5 plus 220 this evening for the daily double on Betting Weekly Live in the late night Grizz Warrior game. We are going to forget Lakers and Thunder, forget all that other stuff, Doug. It is Grizz and Warriors late night tonight. That is where
all that matters.
That is where the focus is going to be. All right, daily show, the early show, daily double just hit. Man, we got to keep up with these guys every day. They're hammering the early program with the daily double. So nice job by then. All right, Doug, we'll see you tomorrow, of course. We are back 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. Pacific for a Tuesday Betting Weekly Live. We have more NBA, huge night of college basketball. There's tons of college hoops that we are going to get to. We will look at the men's hockey starting on Wednesday. So I got a couple bombs for the whole tournament. Some fun player stuff, Doug, that I'll give you tomorrow that maybe we can have some fun with during the men's portion of the ice hockey. Betting Weekly Live.
I got to dive into the 6 Man of the Year markets too.
Yes. We got to see if we can find anybody to chase down Naz Reid for us here for the 6th Man of the Year in the NBA. Betting Weekly Live, of course, Betting Weekly Studio is part of the Bet Rivers Network. Have a great night, and we will see you back here tomorrow, 4 p.m. East on Betting Weekly Live.